CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is GB2RS, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mepershall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 2nd of March and here is the GB2RS news broadcast, prepared for you by the RSGB for all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on our website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that we may mention in this broadcast. This week's headlines: British Science Week, will you take part in an amateur radio activity? Could you contribute to the RSGB Technical Forum? And we're looking for an assistant Radcom editor. British Science Week starts this Friday, the 7th of March, and gives radio amateurs the chance to share their passion and knowledge of the hobby with new audiences. Schools, including Kingsmead School in Taunton and St Anne's Catholic Primary School in Ormskirk, have several radio-related activities lined up for students. Clubs including South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group will take part in events that are open to the public. A men's sheds group in Crowthorne and Wokingham will be active as Golf 8 Echo Yankee Mike and would appreciate skeds, especially with other men's sheds groups. Could you arrange one with them? In another fantastic development for this year, the RSGB outreach team has partnered with the Radio Communications Foundation to provide FM radio receiver kits for 15 school, university, scout and youth groups to build. You can find details of these events, plus more, at rsgb.org/BSW, that's BSW for British Science Week, and once you're there you can choose the Events Happening Near You tab on the right hand side of the menu. Now, if you have an activity taking place, then there's still time to let us know so we can help you to promote your event free of charge. You can email the RSGB British Science Week coordinator. That's Ian Neal, Mike 0 Kilo Echo Oscar. Ian's email address is bsw for British Science Week at rsgb.org.uk. And even if you haven't planned anything yet, you can still get involved by doing the RSGB's official British Science Week activity with your friends and family. You can find that and other ideas and resources on the RSGB British Science Week webpage. And so be inspired, get involved and show the very best that amateur radio has to offer. The RSGB Technical Forum invites expressions of interest from people who would like to join the group. Now, the forum is a body of technical experts that review articles submitted for the RSGB Radcom editors. It provides recommendations on whether the articles should be accepted for publication, and if so, whether they're best suited to Radcom, Radcom Basics or Radcom Plus. So, if you're able to contribute to the RSGB Technical Forum, then please write to gm.dept, that's Golf Mike Delta Echo Papa Tango, at rsgb.org.uk. And when you do so, please be sure to include a short summary of your relevant amateur radio and professional expertise. Now, we're also looking for an assistant editor to join the team that produces our suite of Radcom publications. The successful candidate will take part in everything from magazine production to sub-editing to writing articles and planning content. You can find more information on page 83 of the February 2025 edition of Radcom or via radcom.org/careers. And if you'd like to apply for the role, then please email radcom@rsgb.org.uk. Now we have news of the Commonwealth Contest, which is a unique annual event which has run every year since 1931. It's held over the weekend nearest to Commonwealth Day, and it's loved by many RSGB members and radio amateurs throughout the Commonwealth. In 2024, over 240 individual entrants and 15 Commonwealth headquarter stations representing national societies were all active in the event. The Commonwealth contest is a treasure hunt with amateurs in distant locations looking to make contact with you. So if you're not a regular contest participant, or if you have a simple HF setup, you could still use the contest as an excellent opportunity to make long distance contacts. UK amateurs will also be travelling to the Caribbean, the Falklands and New Zealand, so your scope for contacts is expanded, and many Australian, New Zealand, Indian and Canadian amateurs will join in too. The contest itself takes place on the 8th of March, and you can find out more on page 38 of the March edition of Radcom, and also on the RSGB website at tinyurl.com/Commonwealth-contest. On Saturday the 29th of March, the RSGB National Radio Centre Coordinator Martin Baker, Golf 0 Golf Mike Bravo, together with Andy Webster, Golf 7 Uniform Hotel November from the Radio Communications Foundation, they'll both deliver a talk in the Fellowship Auditorium at Bletchley Park. And the aim of the talk is to introduce people to the radio spectrum and how to get to grips with the fundamentals of radio transmission. We're delighted that members can benefit from a 10% discount. That brings the price down to £14.40. And to find out more, go to the What's On section on the Bletchley Park website. That's bletchleypark, all one word, .org.uk. And if you'd like to visit the wider Bletchley Park site after the talk, you can get free entry as an RSGB member. Just download a voucher from rsgb.org/BP voucher. That's all one word, BP voucher, and BP stands for Bletchley Park. Amateur Radio Clubs on the Air event is getting ready for a second weekend of operating on the 22nd and 23rd of March. It's a chance for amateurs to promote their club, have some fun and collect points for an award. You can use any band and any mode, including SSB, Morse code, FM, RTTY, FT8, FT4 and all other digital modes. This is an ongoing award, so contacts can be claimed from the 23rd of March 2024 onwards. You can find full details on the Leicester Radio Society's website, that's Golf3 Lima Romeo Sierra.org.uk, or through the Golf3 Lima Romeo Sierra page at qrz.com, or you can email, and I'll give you the email address phonetically. It's Alpha Romeo Charlie Oscar Tango Alpha at Golf3 Lima Romeo Sierra.org.uk. Just a reminder to please send details of all your news and events to radcom@rsgb.org.uk. The deadline for submissions is 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the Sunday broadcasts each week. Well, now we have news of rallies and events. Today, the 2nd of March, it's the Exeter Radio Rally, which will be taking place at the new venue, which is the Ken Centre, that's KENN. The postcode is Echo X-Ray 67 Uniform Echo, and the doors will open at 10 a.m. There'll be traders and catering available on site, and for more information you can phone Pete, Golf 3 Zulu Victor India. Pete's phone number is 07714 198 374, or you can email him on Golf3 Zulu Victor India at yahoo.co.uk. On Sunday the 16th of March, it's the Ripon and District Amateur Radio Society Rally, and that takes place at Great Ousburn Village Hall. That's on Longmire Lane. Sorry, it isn't. It's on Lightmire Lane in Great Ousburn, York, and the postcode is Yankee Oscar 269 Romeo Lima. The doors will open for traders at 7:30 a.m. and to the public at 10 a.m. and admission is £3. There's free car parking, refreshments and bacon butties will be available. Tables cost £10 each, and in order to inquire or book one or more tables, then please email, I'll spell this for you, it's radars, so radars .rally, rally, @gmail.com. And now we have the special event news. The British Railways Amateur Radio Society is running special event station Golf Bravo 0 Lima Mike Romeo and Golf Bravo 2 Sierra Delta Romeo during the whole of this year, and that's to celebrate 200 years of train travel since 1825. Starting from April, it will also be running Golf Bravo 2 Tango Tango, and that's to celebrate the same anniversary, and you can QSL via the Bureau. For more information, go to qrz.com and look up the call sign Golf Bravo 2 Tango Tango, Golf Bravo 0 Lima Mike Romeo, or Golf Bravo 2 Sierra Delta Romeo. You can also go to their event website, which is WebRARS, all one word, Whiskey Echo Bravo Romeo Alpha Romeo Sierra.info. From the 1st to the 28th of March, George Mike 0 Juliet November Lima will again be activating special event station Golf Bravo 0 Golf Tango Sierra. This year the station is active in support of the Great Tommy Sleepout. This national challenge aims to raise funds and awareness for all former UK service personnel who are currently living homeless. You can find more details on qrz.com and also the event website, which is Romeo Bravo Lima India.co.uk. And now we have the DX news. Operators R1BIG, RW3RN, Whiskey 8 Hotel Charlie, R9LR and November 3 Quebec are active from Chiriqui, that's in Panama. They're using the call sign 3 Foxtrot 3 Romeo Charlie, and they'll be active until the 3rd of March. The Victor Kilo 9 X-ray uniform team will be active from Christmas Island, that's IOTA reference Oscar Charlie 002. They'll be active until the 4th of March, and they're operating on 160 to 6 meters using Morse code, SSB, RTTY, FT4 and FT8. If you're lucky enough to contact them, you can QSL via Delta Lima 2 Alpha Whiskey Golf. You can also use Club Log and Logbook of the World. A little bit further ahead, Delta Alpha 1 Delta X-ray, Delta Kilo 9 India Papa, Delta Mike 6 Echo Echo and Delta Lima 8 Lima Alpha Sierra will be operating from Anegada Island in the British Virgin Islands. They'll be using call sign Victor Papa 2 Victor India, and they'll be active from the 10th to the 27th of April. And now we have the contest news. The ARRL DX SSB contest started at 0000 UTC on Saturday the 1st of March and ends at midnight today, the 2nd of March. Using SSB on the 160 to 10 meter bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is for non-US and Canadian stations, signal report transmit power in watts, and American and Canadian stations will also send their state or province in place of transmit power. The RSGB March 144 MHz and 432 MHz contest started at 1400 UTC on Saturday the 1st of March and ends at 1400 UTC today, the 2nd of March. Using all modes on the 2 meter and 70 centimeter bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Today, the 2nd of March, it's the UK Microwave Group Low Band Contest. That runs from 1000 to 1600 UTC. Using all modes on the microwave bands, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Also today, the 2nd of March, it's the Worked All Britain 80 metre phone contest, and that runs from 1800 to 2200 UTC. And please note that this is an SSB only contest, and the exchange is signal report, serial number and your Worked All Britain area. Entries must be with the contest or contest manager by March the 12th, and you can find full rules on the Worked All Britain website. On Monday the 3rd of March, it's the RSGB's 80 metre Club Championship data contest, and that runs from 2000 to 2130 UTC. Using RTTY and PSK 63 on the 80 metre band only, the exchange is signal report and serial number. On Tuesday the 4th of March, it's the RSGB's 144 MHz FM activity contest, and that runs from 1900 to 1955 UTC. Using FM on the 2 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. And also on Tuesday the 4th, it's the RSGB's 144 MHz UK activity contest, which runs from 2000 to 2230 UTC. This contest uses all modes on the 2 metre band, and the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Wednesday the 5th, it's the RSGB's 144 MHz FT8 activity 4-hour contest, running from 1700 to 2100 UTC. Using FT8 on the 2 metre band, the exchange is report and 4-character locator. We also have on Wednesday the 5th, the RSGB's 144 MHz FT activity 2-hour contest. That runs from 1900 to 2100 UTC. Using FT8 on the 2 metre band, the exchange is report and 4-character locator. And if you enter the 4-hour contest, then you can also enter the 2-hour contest. On Wednesday the 5th, it's the UK and Ireland Contest Club contest. That runs from 2000 to 2100 UTC. Using SSB on the 80 metre band, the exchange is your 6-character locator. The Commonwealth contest starts at 1000 UTC on Saturday the 8th of March and ends at 1000 UTC on Sunday the 9th of March. Using Morse code on the 80 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. And the Commonwealth headquarter stations will also send HQ as part of the contest exchange. Well, now we have the HF radio propagation report. This was compiled by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 27th of February. Well, we had another week of mixed geomagnetic conditions. The KP index rose to 5 with visible aurora over the UK at times. 2 large coronal holes are now facing Earth, and a solar wind stream flowing from these zones was expected to flow past Earth around Friday the 28th of February to Saturday the 1st of March. Active geomagnetic conditions with a KP index of 4 are forecast for this weekend. There's also been more solar flare activity over the past 7 days, with an X2 class flare on the 23rd and 10 M class flares. The X-class flare occurred at 1927 UTC, so had little effect in Europe as the sun had already set. Luckily, an associated coronal mass ejection was not directed towards Earth, nor was another fast-moving coronal mass ejection on the 24th. As we enter March, it looks as though the sun is still very active. The solar flux index stood at 180 on Thursday the 27th, after hitting 210 on the 23rd. Maximum usable frequencies over 3,000 kilometers are still reaching 34 to 35 megahertz around midday, while nighttime maximum usable frequencies are generally around 10 to 11 megahertz, with occasional openings on 20 meters. This week, Bob, Victor Papa 8 Lima Papa on the Falkland Islands has been active on 10 meters SSB and has been worked from the UK. As we enter March, this is a good time for north-south paths on HF, such as UK to South Africa and UK to South America. The spring equinox is also a good time for auroral conditions. NOAA predicts that the sun will start next week with a solar flux index of 190, perhaps falling to 170 to 180 as the week progresses. We hesitate to say this, but geomagnetic conditions are predicted to be good once we get past the disturbances on the 28th of February and the 1st of March, but only time will tell. And now we move to the VHF and up propagation news, and this was compiled by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. There's still likely to be a welcome return of high pressure for much of the period from this weekend until the middle of the coming week. Models show a return of unsettled Atlantic weather. That means lows, fronts, showers and rain scatter for the 10 gigahertz bands. Until then, it will be typical high-pressure tropo conditions with an extensive temperature inversion aloft, and that's caused by the descending warming air in the high-pressure region. This should provide ducting conditions over a large part of the country, and as often, the far north of the UK will probably just miss out and retain too much breeze for the inversion to be effective. The lull in meteor shower activity continues, so once again your best chances for meteor shower activity will be in the morning hours around or just before dawn. The sun has kept aurora seekers busy, and it shows how frequently it can just tip into the right disturbed conditions at this stage of the solar cycle. As we mentioned, there have been reports of visible aurora in the past week. The signs for aurora are the KP index rising to 5 or more, and a fluttering sound on lower frequency band signals or on transpolar paths if you're on the higher frequency bands. The new sporadic E season is almost upon us, but we're not quite there yet. Check the graphs on PropQuest for signs of enhanced sporadic E values, and look at the HF bands first. 10 meters is particularly good for strong European sporadic E signals. For EME or moon bounce operators, moon declination is rising all week, and path losses will be at their minimum at perigee, which will be late on Saturday the 1st of March, or was late on Saturday the 1st of March. 144 MHz sky noise is low for this coming weekend, and it rises to moderate by Friday the 7th. And that's all from the propagation team for this week. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain, brought to you by amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Next we have the local news, and please note we do have details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies on our website. That includes contact details, website links and so on. So just go to rsgb.org.uk. For any given club you'll be able to find them in the Club Finder link. So we'll start off with news for the Midlands. Meetings of the Bolsover Amateur Radio Society are on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of the month, and they're held at the Bainbridge Hall, Bolsover, Sierra 446 Papa X-ray, starting at 8 p.m. The next meeting is on Tuesday the 4th of March, and you can find more information on the Society's Facebook page, which is at Bolsover ARS. The Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meet every Friday from 8 p.m, and they also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the Club Shack from 10:30 a.m. Then on Monday and Wednesday evenings there are nets on 145.375 MHz at 7:30 p.m. The Burton Amateur Radio Club has slow Morse code training on 14.055 MHz on Mondays at 11 a.m, and they also have a club meeting on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. at the Plough Inn in Horninglow. And they also hold an informal open net on Thursday at 8 p.m. and on Sundays at 10 a.m. around 145.575 MHz FM. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday and from 12 p.m. on Saturday, and the group will have a Google meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. The Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association has nets daily on 145.400 MHz at 8 p.m, and on Monday they have a DMR net in talk group 235292 from 8 p.m. On Tuesday they have slow Morse code transmissions around 3540 kHz from 8 p.m, and on Wednesday the net is on 144.350 MHz at 8 p.m. On Friday they have a net through GB2RS or GB2RS from 8 p.m. On Mondays, Coventry Amateur Radio Society have an FM net on 145.375 MHz at 8 p.m, and on Wednesday they have a Zoom meeting at 11 a.m. On Friday they have a club night at St Bart's, that's from 8 p.m, and the postcode, if you want to go, is Charlie Victor 3 2 Delta Tango. The Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Wrighton Mill. That's on 59 Vale Street, Upper Gornal in Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 X-Ray Foxtrot. The Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society hold an informal net every day on 145.475 MHz at 3:30 p.m. And on Monday, Flight Lieutenant Vince Hargreaves, AFC, will present a talk on 3 Hawk jet experience engine failure at 10,000 feet. Hinckley Amateur Radio and Electronic Society meet every second Wednesday at the Burbage C.of.E. Infant School. That's on Grove Road in Burbage, Hinckley, and the postcode is Lima Echo 102 Alpha Echo. And this week they have their club night with coffee and a chat, and everyone's welcome to attend. Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society has a breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesdays they have a club meeting at 7 p.m. Their net is on Thursdays at 7 p.m. on 145.300 MHz. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society will meet at its club rooms and via Zoom from 7:30 p.m. and the Zoom link is on the club's website. They also have a club meeting from 10 a.m. on Thursday. The Lincoln Shortwave Club meet at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday and from 9:30 a.m. on Saturday. Then on Thursday they'll have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Lima Sierra, or if that's busy they'll use 145.350 MHz. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will hold a junk sale. On Wednesday, Malvern Hills Radio Amateurs Club have a net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. On Thursday, Northampton Radio Club will have a soldering practice workshop. The Nuneaton and District Amateur Radio Club meet at the Windmill Sports and Social Club in Mansetta Road, Nuneaton. The postcode is Charlie Victor 100 Hotel Whiskey. They have a weekly 2-metre net on 145.475 MHz at 9:30 p.m. on Thursday evenings. They also hold a social and operating night on the first Monday of the month starting at 7 p.m. and their club night is on the third Friday of the month also at 7 p.m. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group will have a shack night and club net on 145.3 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Friday they'll be having a surplus sale. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club has a club net on 145.325 MHz or through GB3LM from 7:30 p.m. and on Friday members will meet at the Pie Wipe Inn from 8 p.m. The Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society has weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz upper sideband. They also have training and practice Morse nets on Monday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on 144.275 MHz, starting off on USB and moving to Morse. And there's also a meeting at the the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut from 8 p.m. on Tuesday and on Saturday from 2 p.m. And on Friday the Society have their net on 1913 kHz from 8 p.m. On Thursday, the Salop Amateur Radio Society will have a get-together from 8 p.m. On Thursdays, Solihull Amateur Radio Society hold a club 2-metre net from 8 p.m. and on Thursday the 20th of March they have a meeting at the first Solihull Scouts headquarters from 8 p.m. On Sundays, South Birmingham Radio Society has activities in the attic, and on Tuesdays visitors are welcome to attend the Society's coffee morning from 10:30 a.m. On the 7th of March they'll have a Friday work in the shack session with Roger and others and for more information you can visit the Society's website. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group has a net on 144.225. Sorry about this. Just previous one just made me laugh. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group has a net on 144.225 MHz SSB. That's from 7 p.m. And remember, sorry about this. Members will have a club meeting on Wednesday from 7 p.m. and on Friday they'll have a net. Sorry about that. Stratford-upon-Avon and District Radio Society has a net on 145.275 MHz from 8 p.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow the 3rd of March, the Welland Valley Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.275 MHz from 7 p.m. The Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meet every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Woodend British Legion. Then on Sundays there's a net around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. Withell Radio Club will take part in Club on the Air Challenge from the 1st to the 31st of March, and on Tuesday they have an Ask the Experts round table with questions and answers from 7:30 p.m. Right, now we move to news for the South East and East Anglia. The Aylesbury Vale Radio Society meet on the 3rd Wednesday of each month, and the next meeting is on Wednesday the 19th of March at 8 p.m, and this meeting will be the club's annual general meeting. Banbury Amateur Radio Society has a net on 144.5125 MHz FM most evenings, and they also have a club night on Wednesday from 7 p.m. On Wednesday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society has its net starting at 8 p.m. on 145.5625 MHz. On Thursday, the Bitton DX Club has a net around 145.400 MHz. On Sundays, Bracknell Amateur Radio Club has a net through Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November from 5 p.m. and through Golf Bravo 3 Alpha Lima from 5:30 p.m. On Wednesday, the club has a net on 145.375 MHz FM from 8 p.m. and on this Thursday they'll have a 40 metre net at noon. On Tuesday, Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society has a net on 145.375 MHz FM and via Zoom from 8 p.m. The Breed Stream Amateur Radio Society meet on the first and third Saturday of each month. The next meeting is on the 15th of March, and on Wednesdays the club hold a net through Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra from 7 p.m. The Bredhurst Receiving and Transmitting Society meets in its shack every Wednesday from 7 p.m, and they have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha on Thursdays. On Wednesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society has a net starting on 145.5 and then moving to a clear frequency, and that's at 9 p.m. On Saturdays, Burnham Beeches Radio Club have a net on 7.063 MHz from 4:30 p.m, and on Sundays the net is on 145.5 moving to 145.275 MHz from 10:30 a.m. The Monday AGM will be, or on Monday, the club will hold their AGM from 8 p.m. Bury St Edmunds Amateur Radio Society meet at the Ruffham Tower Museum on the 3rd Wednesday of each month. It's a small but very active club, and they have club nets every day of the week except Sunday. You can find details about the club's activities on their website, and the club's general chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society has a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz from 8 p.m, and on Monday they have Morse code net on 3542 kHz from 7:30 p.m, and that's followed at 8:15 p.m by Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Whiskey slow Morse transmissions on 3555 kHz. This Tuesday the meeting sees a meeting for Brickworks training. That is to be confirmed looking at this. On Thursday there'll be Morse code classes via Skype, and they start at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, the Chelsea Pensioners Radio Club has a net on 145.375 MHz from 2 p.m. On Friday, Chippenham and District Amateur Radio Club has a UK activity contest on 144 MHz from 7:30 p.m. On Tuesday, Colchester Radio Amateurs Club has open nets on 433.4 MHz at 7 p.m. and on 1.920 MHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday they have an open net around 145.350 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Thursday, also at 7 p.m, they have an open net on 3.685 MHz. Then on Friday they have an open DX net on 14.125 MHz with help on 145.350 MHz, and that's all at 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, Coulsdon Amateur Transmitting Society has nets on 145.4 MHz from 11 a.m. and on 3.7 MHz from 5 p.m. Then on Wednesday they have a net around 70.425 MHz at 9 p.m. Crawley Amateur Radio Club meet at 11 a.m. on Sundays and 2 p.m. on Fridays, and they have talks once a month on a Wednesday evening. On Wednesday the 19th of March, Paul, Golf 7 Kilo Bravo Romeo, and Richard, Golf 4 Alpha November November, will give a presentation about the Ashdown Forest repeaters. Those are Golf Bravo 3 Mike Hotel and Golf Bravo 7 Mike Hotel, and non-members are welcome to attend, and admission is free. The presentation takes place at 8 p.m. That's being held at Hut 18 at Tilgate Recreation Centre, Tilgate Forest in Crawley, and the postcode is Romeo Hotel 105 Papa Hotel. The Cray Valley Radio Society is located at the Scout headquarters behind 61 to 71 Southend Crescent in Eltham, London, and the postcode is Sierra Echo 9 to Sierra Delta. They're running a 2-day face-to-face foundation licence course on the 5th and 12th of April near Greenwich in southeast London. Their usual website address is temporarily not available, so you can use an alternative web address, which is Charlie Victor Romeo Sierra .uniform kilo. So that's cvrs.uk. Use that one in the interim. The foundation training package is £65, and that includes the online exam at the end of the course. Their 2 metre and 4 metre FM nets are on 145.350 MHz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and 70.425 MHz on Fridays at 8 p.m. They also have a top band net on the first Monday of the month around 1.905 MHz. The net begins on SSB and then moves to AM. And everyone, especially foundation licence holders, are welcome to join in. On Wednesdays, Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club has a net on 145.525 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Saturdays they meet at 8 p.m. on 51.550 MHz. On Sundays, Darenth Valley Radio Society has a net on 145.475 MHz at 8 a.m. The Dorking and District Radio Society has a net each day from Monday to Saturday on 144.775 MHz FM at 10 a.m. Then on Sundays they have a net on 3.772 MHz SSB from 8:15 a.m. The next meeting of the Dover Amateur Radio Club will be on Thursday from 6:45 p.m. Essex Ham has a net on Monday through GB2RS at 8 p.m. with chat room and audio feed at essexham.net. On Sundays, Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society meet on 145.400 MHz at 10 a.m. and on Monday members will take part in a practical evening at Broadway House, and that's being run by Alan and Chris. And on Wednesday they'll have an open net through Golf Bravo 3 Papa Oscar from 7:30 p.m. The Hammersmith Amateur Radio Society will meet online on Friday the 14th of March, and that's at 8 p.m. On Tuesday, members of the Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society will meet from 10 a.m. and on Wednesday they'll have a net on 145.425 MHz at 7:30 p.m. On Thursday they have a digital net on the XLX215 reflector, and on Friday they will meet from 8 p.m. and visitors are welcome to attend. The Hastings Electronics and Radio Club have a daily net through Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra at 10 a.m. and they have a Morse net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 MHz. The Morse net is for anyone new to Morse or who wants to brush up on their Morse skills, and non-members are welcome to take part. That's then followed by general conversation, and on Wednesdays, usually at 1 p.m, members meet up at various locations in the area for an afternoon of portable operating on both HF and VHF, and non-members are welcome to take part again. The details do vary each week, so it's a good idea to visit the club's website on the Wednesday morning to see up-to-date information about the location and time of the next get-together. The next meeting of the Hilderstone Radio Society will be held on Thursday the 6th of March. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society has a net through GB7PO and GB7MT from 8 p.m. And then they have a net from Monday to Friday through GB3IW at 6:15 a.m. On Tuesday, they take part in the Bramble net through GB3IW from 7:30 p.m. And on Thursday, there's another net through GB3IW, followed by a Zoom meeting, and that's from 8 p.m. On Fridays, members meet at Haylands Farm in Ryde, where foundation and intermediate licence training is also available. Itchen Valley Amateur Radio Club usually meets on the second and fourth Fridays of each month. Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society has a net on Wednesday from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister DMR Talk Group 23511. On Thursday, they have a net from 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz FM, and on Friday they'll meet at All Saints House from 8 p.m. with an early spring tabletop sale. The Lower Stofton District and Pye Amateur Radio Club have a net on Sundays on 433.575 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Tuesday they have a net on 145.475 MHz at 7 p.m. They meet in person on Thursday evenings from 7:30 p.m. and the last net of the week is on Friday on 51.490 MHz at 7 p.m. The Maidenhead and District Amateur Radio Club meet at the Friends Meeting House on 14 West Street, Maidenhead, and the postcode is Sierra Lima 66 Romeo Lima. The Martello Tower Group has a net night every Monday evening at 8 p.m. through the Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Lima repeater. Then on Sundays the group has a net through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Echo at 8 p.m. The Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society nets are each weekday from 9:30 a.m. on 144.650 MHz. On Monday the 3rd of March, Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society will have a committee meeting, and on Friday the club will meet via Zoom for coffee and a chat from 10:30 a.m. The Norfolk Amateur Radio Club has a net through Golf Bravo 3 November Bravo every Monday from 7:30 p.m, and that's followed by a Morse net on 3.543 MHz at 8:30 p.m. On Thursday the 6th of March, the Reading and District Amateur Radio Club will have a construction evening, and that starts at 8 p.m. The Shefford and District Radio Society's regular nets are on Mondays on 1.985 MHz lower sideband at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays through Golf Bravo 3 Papa India from 8 p.m. This coming Thursday they'll have a record speeds talk, and that's being given by Paul Schimmel. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society will have a cafe meeting at 12:15 p.m, followed by a net through Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-Ray at 2 p.m. The Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre, that's on Chels Way, Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 20 Lima Tango. They have free tea, coffee and biscuits for everyone attending, and they also have a club sked which is held at 8 p.m. on the 80 metre band each Friday close to 3.726 MHz. Then on the last Friday of each month they have a 2 metre net which is on or near 145.450 MHz. That's to encourage VHF activity and to help those who are new to the hobby. And the club operates using the call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta, and everyone's welcome to join in regardless of club membership. On Sundays, Surrey Radio Contact Club has a net on 1.905 MHz at 9:30 a.m. and a net on 3.710 MHz on Mondays at 9 a.m. and at 7:45 p.m. they will have a calendar planning meeting which will be held at St Paul's. On Tuesday they have a net on 51.550 MHz from 8 p.m, and on Wednesday they meet on 28.078 MHz JS8 from 10 a.m. On Thursday they meet on 70.300 MHz at 8 p.m. On Friday they meet on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and they have an FM net on 145.350 MHz at 8 p.m. The West Kent Amateur Radio Society has regular weekly nets. You can find details of these and other club information on their website. On Friday, the Witten Amateur Radio Group will have a club night with HF and VHF operating on the air. Well, that's all for this week's GB2RS news broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, then please email it to us as far in advance as possible, and we'll include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS news broadcasts, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send it to the editorial team. Their email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. And if your news items are time sensitive, then please be sure to send them to us by 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the news broadcasts. We retain copyright over all material transmitted, and you can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. You can also download the full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS news team. We hope you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead. This is Graham Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire, now listening for any calls, queries or reports.